But why did you let go of the ANC? Your generation, the generation below the generation of Mbeki and Zuma. You're no longer there. The institutional memory of the ANC rests with you. It's your responsibility. But most of you have disappeared. This is linked to one of the questions we have from the audience, from Dawood, who says, why do ministers see the light when they leave government? What happens in the corridors of government?
I think one of the challenges in the democracy that we are part of, and that's a norm in the world, is you rule at the pleasure of the president, who's an autocrat. And you can have a good president like Mandela, where I could fundamentally disagree with him, and he would accept my advice. You know, it's an individual choice at the end. You know, I don't owe loyalty to any individual. I believe in a vision, I believe in a set of values and an objective that we set. I will participate, I'll give my life to it. But I don't believe in loyalty to individuals. And I think that's what changed in our politics in this country, post-Mandela. The growth of the big man syndrome. I know what is good for my people. I don't need to talk to the people. So if you look at 1996, which made up my mind, the success that we laud today of Lula was that he painstakingly went and he met all of the organizations that he knew would oppose his macroeconomic policies and debated fiercely with them, like we did when we had to suspend the armed struggle in this country, or have negotiations in the 80s in the Inkatha Freedom Party. We faced the fire. When you had the social consensus of the RDP destroyed, closed down, there was no discussion, not even in the cabinet, the NEC, or in the tripartite alliance. Is there an institutional memory? Of course I'm prepared to offer. And like I said, in 2007, when called upon, I played a role. And many of us are prepared to play a role. But we'll do it because we believe that it's our duty as citizens to make our country succeed. And so if we have leadership out there that is prepared to accept robust views, to robust debate, and on some very fundamental issues, difference of opinion, then any one of us is available to roll up our sleeves and go into the trenches.
Jay, thanks for that, but what concerns me is that nobody in the current leadership is going to invite you to criticize them. And I think with your background and with your abilities, that you actually owe us more than that, than waiting for the invitation. How do we fulfill our responsibilities, especially, and I put more weight on you because you have greater ability. How do we affect that, this kind of power-hungry syndrome that has descended on us?
Well, I think you're doing it at the moment, you know, and all of you are playing a role. You know, I think it's just the basic thing of us standing up and not letting our voice be taken away from us. I just cannot accept this notion that the next generation can abscond from its responsibility to lead. And so when I stand up, and I do stand up and I decide in certain situations that my voice is important, so on the secrecy bills it was important, given the work that I do around the world, I'm able to bring facts to the table. So yes, you know, unfortunately I'm not available to go back into government, and you know, I support local organizations in this country, I express my voice, but I think, you know, one of the things we've got to stop is this notion that we need some messiah. We need some celebrity, someone who can talk. You know, each one of us can be a leader. In fact, I think there's a fundamental problem with this messiah complex that we have. We need someone to lead us. We actually need to lead ourselves. Then accountability comes. Because, you know, a government, you know, a democracy can never happen if people are afraid of their government or their leaders. It only happens, real democracy, when governments or the leaders are afraid of the people. And they will only be afraid of you if you are organized, can be outraged, you can express yourself in your strongest voices, and you can have consequence for them not listening to you.
I just wanted to ask you, what is your hope from the Mangaung conference?
You know, I've had this debate often with my friends. Does it matter? So my approach is, yes, I'm hoping that the membership of the ANC, which will not be, elites, they're actually grassroots activists, will assert their democratic right to elect leaders that they choose, but more importantly, debate the failures and the crises we have, which are visible to every one of them because they come from the poorest neighborhoods. Their children go to schools which the public officials don't send their children to. They have to go to hospitals where there are no ARVs, where the public officials will not send their children or the public representatives. So I think that one, I have confidence always that the embedders of this world are the ones that will lead us forward. And secondly, my view is that you cannot just cede your democratic rights to individual leaders. Democracy is not about giving power away to anyone. You're giving people a mandate to serve you. You retain the power to hold them accountable. And that's the transaction we need to make in our minds. Then it doesn't matter who comes into power, what political party they are, we will hold all of them, hold their feet to the fire.